Morning, it's Dustin with Highway One Capital for our weekly market update. Today is Wednesday, October 22nd. The market continues to be volatile again today. It's selling off after really a historic day yesterday with the Dow reaching an intraday all-time high of over 47,000. We anticipate this continued volatility for a while as there are a lot of pressing issues domestically and also around the world that are impacting the markets and investors both positively and negatively. So hence this daily tug of war that we're seeing in the markets. There are reasons to remain optimistic on risk assets, as Tim mentioned last week. We have a solid labor market. The consumer is still relatively healthy, and corporate profits have been very solid. So ultimately, growth is moderating, but it isn't contracting, at least for now. So, but probably the strongest argument for risk assets now is that the Fed is becoming more dovish, and that's always something that is good for the economy and good for risk assets as liquidity gets pumped into the system. The Fed's plotted a path for further interest rates cuts and possibly ending quantitative tightening. Jerome Powell, in a speech last week at the National Association of Business Economics, indicated that the Fed's long-running effort to shrink the balance sheet might be coming to an end, and that's a big deal. The Fed has already shrunk its balance sheet from roughly $9 trillion to about 6.6 trillion. So they've taken a lot off of the balance sheet, which ultimately is pretty good. So any of the quantitative tightening should create some more liquidity and also provide some tailwind for risk assets. So if the economy is relatively strong and the Fed is going to be more accommodative, why the heck are the markets selling off on certain days like today? And we get asked that a lot by all of you, which is a fair question. And the reality is that there is another side to the coin. There are some growing concerns in the market and the global economy, and valuations are clearly stretched. Whether earnings can continue to be delivered will ultimately determine whether the market's really expensive now or not. But valuations on a historic basis are stretched for sure. We have increased trade tensions with China. That was an issue at the beginning of the year that caused the market to sell off. You saw China just recently announce stricter controls on exports for rare earth minerals and the chip materials. And that's significant. That could create supply chain issues and significantly disrupt global supply for a lot of different industries. The U.S. also is restricting chip exports to China as both countries are trying to gain leverage for the upcoming trade talks. So on the credit side, we've all heard Jamie Dimon warn about cockroaches in the credit markets, and hinting that there could be more negative credit outcomes on the horizon. You're all familiar with the cockroach theory. When we see one cockroach, even though you only see one, there's going to be a lot more hiding behind the wall that are about to come out. So we've talked to several economists and traders and analysts about the credit markets, and most right now believe that these credit risks are more these events that we've had are more idiosyncratic, and that the credit markets are relatively healthy right now. But we'll see. We got to keep our eye on it because in most periods, the credit markets detect problems in the economy before the equity markets do. That's my opinion. So we have to keep a close eye on the credit markets. And as always, we commit to keeping our eye on everything for you and analyzing all of the developments as they unfold. So we still favor risk assets, but we're watching things closely. On the personal side, we have some exciting news here at Highway One Capital. Tim's oldest daughter, Gigi, is getting married on Saturday to a wonderful guy, Hunter. And we wish Gigi and Hunter all the best on their journey together and the start of an amazing path. So congrats to Gigi and the Woodall family, and congrats to Hunter. Thanks for all of you, as always. Hope you have an amazing day.